YouTube. Let's check the Facebook stream. Let's see here. We are good on Facebook too. It's funny, the last couple weeks, I hadn't been paying attention to Facebook, so I would think that we were going live, but
Mm-hmm.
we weren't yet. Button that said go live now. So we good now. We good. We in here.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Let's see if we can get some. Is it gonna work? Dang. I was trying to use the clapping feature. Come on.
Did
Uh
you know that we have captions on Facebook active?
what you mean?
Like, I'm looking at the live right now and we have closed captions. So, like, as we talk, its
They
captions
can
are being
see.
generated. Yeah,
That's pretty
it's
cool.
hilarious.
Hold on. Come on. Let's work. Let me I'm trying to use our media over here. It's not working right now. We're gonna have to keep playing with it so that you all can hear some of the media we got. We got some clapping, we got some cheering. But it sounds good, right? It sounds good, but since it doesn't work today, I don't want to talk too much more about it. Welcome to another Mindful Monday, starting your week off in a mindful way. We at Balance Period are here to equip you with the tools that you need to more mindfully manage your energy. Through mindfully managing your energy, you're able to accomplish any life. You can become the person that you want to be. You can fulfill the purpose that you feel like you have over your life. And you can do so from a perspective that allows you to recognize the full worth of the experience you need to have while you are here. And I say get an opportunity to have because not everyone woke up this morning. So the fact that you are breathing, the fact that you are engaging with this video right now means that you have an opportunity to live out your dreams and to live out your full potential. And starting out with a piece of is a fantastic way to reconnect to the present moment. And another way is through a mindful moment. So I'm to Nick. He's going to guide us through a brief breathing exercise that we will go through today to help us reconnect to the here and now and tune in and be where we are. So, Nick, take us through today's mindful moment.
Dope. So, real quick, let us sit up straight, relax our shoulders, and you're going to do this at your own pace, but you're going to inhale for 6 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds. We call it balanced breathing. And I'm just going to walk you through a brief exercise as we do so. So I'll count us down 3, 2, 1, and then we'll get started. 3, 2, 1. 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. And as you begin to breathe, allow your body to settle. Notice any places where you feel tension. And on that exhale, feel that space relax. Now go ahead and take a moment and just, like we talked about a second ago, think of something that you're grateful for. And as you focus in on what you have gratitude for, see how it feels. How does it feel in your body? What does gratitude feel like for you? Perfect. That was a fun little experiment. I thank you all for joining me today for this mindful moment. And in that space, and we breathe and we think of something that we're grateful for, the goal is to feel, see what it feels like to have gratitude in your body or what gratitude feels like to you. Because when you can feel it, then you can start to create that feeling inside of yourself. It's something that, like I said, it's an experiment that you get to play around with yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And I would highly recommend thinking about where you feel it too.
Yeah.
I feel it at different places sometimes. Um, I tend to feel like gratitude more like in my chest region, and it kind of feels like a warmth, which I'm not 100% sure if that's like common, but that's what it feels like for me. But the fact, like Nick said, allows me to focus my energy there when I am looking to experience gratitude. So it's definitely useful. But that's the key. That's a lot of what we talk about, right? In mindfully managing your energy, it takes you knowing yourself, right? Being self aware, because if you know how you operate, then you're able to more mindfully manage time and energy during your day. So Yeah, thank you, Nick, for that mindful moment. So let's talk a little bit about where we both are. So, Nick, talk about how you have been since the last time we did a mindful Monday. So, since last Monday.
No, things have been good. I mean, I always will say that they're amazing or they're good because it's how I choose to look at it. Something different that I've been doing lately is I've gotten, not even different, I've just gotten back into it, is a research into detachment. It was something that I saw on TikTok. They talked about detachment and disassociation and the fine line between the two. And that was just something that I decided to explore because I felt like I've dealt with both at one point in my journey. And so it's just been interesting coming back and looking at it from the perspectives that I hold now. So that was something that's been interesting.
What did you learn about it?
I mean, I would say that disassociation, for like my perspective, is more rooted in fear than what detachment is more rooted in confidence. If I had to like really, really simplify it. And the reason being is because when I look at detachment, it is I know this, I know the value of something. It might have value to me, but it doesn't define who I am. So basically, nothing outside of myself defines who I am. For me, that's detachment. So then you can experience any and everything, but it doesn't dictate who you are on the inside. But then with disassociation, it's almost as if you're trying to run away from the situation or run away from the moment. Like you're trying to act as if it doesn't exist at this time. You're turning your back on this whole thing. So it's always kind of like you're running from it rather than you allowing it to be and you experiencing it and taking accountability in the fact that you get to control the perspective of the experience that you're having.
That's interesting. Yeah, and I can definitely see like the clear, like,
Yeah.
did you find that you were like thinking that you were detaching yourself from something, but you were disassociating yourself? Like, did you find that that was something that you experienced, or
Oh, definitely.
what connections yet did you make with your own experience?
Especially early on, and it was just ignorance. It was not understanding that there was a difference between detachment and disassociation. Like a lot of times, especially in when you start getting to like, or at least for me it was in the spiritual practices, we kind of take on the perspectives that we held beforehand. So we're still trying to say what sounds good, what we think people will like. We're still trying to hop on the newest thing. So a lot of those habits that we practice are still really the same. And so that for me was so much so thinking that I was detaching myself and really I was disassociating myself because when I was doing it, I was cutting things off. But I'm cutting myself off from the experience as a whole and realizing that it's like, hey, it's not that I don't have to be a part of this. It is, it doesn't define who I am. Even if I
Mm.
set an expectation, it doesn't go that way. That's the experience that I get to have. Dope. Guess what? In this next breath, I get to have another one. And so, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. That's powerful for sure.
of course.
All right, let me check the chat to see if anybody's in there. No, no, no. We good. We good on both of these. Cool. Well, for me, man, I've had an interesting month. So like I experience, and so as you all know, I wear Whoop. I reference it all the time. That's one of the primary tools that I use to measure my quality of life overall. So like my overall wellness and how the habits I practice, more specifically like sleep consistency, exercising, mindfulness, all of those things, how they influence my quality of life. Over the month of January. I mean, I don't right now, because I don't know what was going on, but I was something different. I don't know, but I was in the green the majority of the month, like 19 out of the 30 days or 31 in the green. So it was like every day I was waking up, feeling refreshed, feeling energized, and it was great. But then this month of January ended going this month, the last day of last month, I was in the red. And over these first couple weeks of this month, I've been in the yellow and then a few days in the red. So my experience this month has been different from last month, which has been interesting to experience. I've been keeping consistent sleeping patterns, which in my opinion is important. But I have been being more mindful about other habits that I'm practicing. And I think personally, what I have learned so far, the biggest thing that's been influencing my like life and the quality of my experience has been my diet. Like it's been kind of all something that I've been learning about, as I mentioned to start this month. One of the things that I wanted to expand my awareness of more has been like my metabolic health and learning more about eating, not just how the foods I'm eating influence, my experience, but also when I'm eating those foods. And from what I've learned, having a consistent eating pattern, similar to a consistent sleeping pattern, is beneficial for our metabolic well-being, which also influences our quality. I will say I have been eating inconsistently for this month so far, and I have been using that as a way to help me get onto a more structured and systematic way of eating. I started today, right? So today I hadn't been eating in the morning. Generally, I would eat my first meal at like 12 or 1. Like I would wait till, late afternoon. And after I would eat, I would feel tired because I would wait so long, then I would eat a large meal, or probably be like, then I would feel tired. But I realized that that wasn't serving me anymore. And so I'm like, well, let's make some adjustments. So today I woke up, I had some movement incorporated into my morning, and then I went and I made a few eggs. So I learned that for me, it's probably going to be beneficial to incorporate higher protein foods to start the day, a little bit of fats, but lower carb, so that I'm able to energize my body as I go through the process of giving myself space to be productive mentally and physically, right? Like in the early portions of my day. And so that's what I've been using this shift in the data that I've been actually over last week to help me make more mindful and informed decisions about how I continue to create my day execution of, in this case, eating, and making sure that I'm mindfully consuming what is going to help fuel me to the best of my ability. So, yeah, that was a lot, but boiled down, I'm learning ways to eat foods that help me feel good so I can function at my best on a daily basis.
Very dope. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah, when you sent me uh that video when they talked about eating in the morning, every so many things clicked for me in that moment when they talked about carbs and how you have higher insulin, blood sugar. It's almost like you're in fight or flight mode. And I was like, man, I've never really thought about food on the aspect of like I've looked at it, being aware and mindfulness, looking at how I feel when I eat. I've definitely paid attention to that, but I've never looked at the science behind what kind of food you put into your body and what it actually does for your body. Because when you think about it, it's like that's why you see people eat carbs around sports times. Like when we were younger growing up, you eat that around sports, you have all this going on inside you, then you're ready to take off. But you look at it in the practical daily life, it's like that's the last thing that you want to be like. You want to be calm and centered. And I was like, yo, so that makes sense. Like when I eat just eggs, I'm like, oh, I'm good. But when I eat eggs and pancakes and throw all this other stuff on there, then I might feel a little bit more, I don't know, heavy in the chest, heavy in the stomach. And now I'm starting to notice, like, okay, so that's just, I was just thinking about that. And I was like, man, that's looks like my next experiment is going to be me with food in that area. Cause I'm really interested to see, like, what it is, at least for my
Yeah,
body.
for sure. And I know I'm doing this like through just keeping track of what I'm eating on, what is it? My Fitness Pal, that's what it's called. My Fitness Pal app, which I've talked about before. Free app, by the way. Highly recommend downloading it. You just scan the label, scanner, use your camera, and it gives you all the nutritional facts for whatever you're eating. You can kind of say what nutrition, milestones you want to hit throughout the day. It's pretty cool. But that's what I'm using. But once I would say probably, come March, maybe April, depending on when I choose to actually get one, I'm going to get one of those like continuous glucose monitors that I have like on me. So I literally will have data, just like Whoop gives me data. I will have data on exactly what happened my body metabolically when I eat certain foods. I think that is going to significantly enhance my ability to make these adjustments. But for now, I'm going to go the free route and continue to use the resources I currently have just to expand my awareness of the quality of food that I'm currently eating. But similar to what you were talking about, Nick, we as a society tend to be more carb low mornings. Like, let's think back when we were kids, what did we have? Like, or what was
Toast.
popular, I should say.
Oh,
sugary
Pop Tarts.
cereals, Pop Tarts. We had toaster
Toaster strudels.
strudels. Like
Bitches was
reckless. I'm
fire.
like, yo, that was so, it's low key messed up that we had no
Oh,
control
we
over
was
this, but they were
definitely we was
advertising
experimenting at that
sugar.
time.
Yeah, like they were advertising sugar for us in the morning as children. Like it's so reckless to think about now. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that by us being aware for people around our age, the millennial age range, understanding that yes, there were things that have influenced the desires that we have, the certain habits and tendencies that we have right now. And there were things that influenced that back in the day that were out of now as
Definitely.
adults. We have an opportunity to take full accountability for our quality of life and what we consume through expanding our awareness of how what we're currently consuming is influencing our quality of life, and then making the proper adjustments so that we can align what we are consuming with our highest good so we can feel good, function at our best, and execute at our highest level. So just wanted to throw that in
Yes.
there.
I just want to say real quick, speaking on millennials, as you all know, yesterday was the Super Bowl. Not sure if you saw the Super Bowl halftime show or not, but I sat back. Like Holly called me in to come look at it. So I was looking at it, and I'm not going front. That was the first time that I really felt my age at that time. Because I sat back and was like, man, I was in sixth grade when In the Club came out. Like I was a little kid, and this is the same man sitting up here doing the same thing. And then, of course, Twitter let all the millennials have it. And I was just like, this is just a funny time. Just looking back at, we used to look at my older brother and sister who was around his age when they would have stuff. And I'm sitting back like, man, they had Prince at the older times. We're that group now. That's us. We're ushering into that next stage. I just thought that was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of nostalgia. Uh, and I think that was the intention. The intention
Hmm.
behind it was to spark
Always.
that feeling of like, oh, what a great time. Like, oh, this was which, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that
Mm-mm.
by any means. But I was also thinking that was the next topic I wanted to talk about, the Super Bowl, right? Huge thing. And I was thinking about it before. I'm like, okay, I know that I'm going to indulge. I'm going to eat stuff that I probably shouldn't be eating in amounts that I probably shouldn't eat it in. It actually wasn't as bad. I kept track of everything on my MyFitnessPal, so I was definitely less inclined to overindulge. I didn't like eat until I was uncomfortable, so I'm proud of myself for that. But I was thinking about like, yo, like so many people are going to be focusing all of their attention and energy on this next 2 hour, 3 hour chunk of time. And I was thinking, what else is happening outside of this? Like there's other things moving, right, in the world, but like that is in nobody's radar. Everyone is
Oh,
focusing
no.
their energy in on, this Super Bowl. And what came to mind was like, yo, how powerful could something be if everyone or that amount of people focused their energy in on it, and it was for the good of humanity and good for for us individually.
Mm.
We were indulging and overindulging most people, and most people gave themselves a pass to overindulge yesterday because it's the Super Bowl. Like, oh, it's Super Bowl Sunday, eat what you want, do what you want. And it's like, well, what if we were able to come up with a way that we could all focus our energy on something, but it was for us checking in with ourselves, tuning how we're feeling, contributing our energy to something greater than us, to advance humanity in a positive way. Like it would just be. So that was just one of the thoughts that came to mind when I was thinking about the Super Bowl as a whole yesterday.
No, yeah. No, I agree. I think that more people focusing in on their own self care. I think if more people knew the value of what it did for their outside life, more people would be quicker to do it. A lot of times, I feel like we do stuff and we do stuff because we know we'll get immediate pleasure out of it for ourselves, but we don't realize that in the act of self care, you're going to get pleasure far beyond just yourself. It's the things that used to disturb your emotions or make you feel overwhelmed don't have that ability anymore. And it's
Hmm.
just, most of the time you won't even realize it. You're just like, you'll one day just be like, that normally used to bother me, but right now it's absolutely nothing. And it's always
Yeah.
been nothing. It was just you, the person that was there that was making it. And it just is the culmination of how you live your life. And it's like, take that time to check in, change your mind, change the world.
Facts, facts. Yeah, one world at a time. Like by me paying closer attention to how I live my life and being more I'm changing the world by me just doing it. Nick's changing the world by him doing it. So if you do it, you will change the world. And that's the most important thing. You taking accountability for you doing that for yourself, the people around you, and that will spread. So it's powerful, you know, and I'm grateful that Balance Period is a platform for people to get into the habit of doing that for themselves. I also did want to draw our awareness to something that happened in the Super Bowl. It came to mind right when it happened. So it was early on in the game, and the Bengals, they hadn't scored yet. I think they just had a field goal. And so they were trying to score. They weren't doing the best job up until this point, but they ended up having this big play that one of their receivers got was on like the best, like one of the best cornerbacks in the league, Jaylen Ramsey. And what had happened was, the guy ran his route. Jaylen Ramsey was defending him, and the guy actually like grabbed Jaylen Ramsey's face mask, threw him down, caught the ball, and ran it in for a touchdown.
Old
There
school.
was no flag. I mean, when they replayed it, you could see that the line judges they couldn't see it, like it was out of their side of view, so they couldn't see it. So there was no flag, and Jalen Ramsey is standing there like, "Yo, like he just literally pulled my face mask and threw me down." It was out of his control. The Bengals still got that touch. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, man, like the level of mental discipline necessary in order to be a high performing athlete, a high performer in any regard, but in this case, a high performing athlete, whether it is a cornerback or a wide receiver, back anyone out on that field, if they get caught up in their mind about something that was out of their control that they experienced that didn't go their way, their ability to execute at their highest level and fill the role that they their team is going to go down significantly. They won't be able to execute. And so I'm like, wow, like it's cool to see. And I'm not quite sure how many people think about that when they watch sports or in this case, the Super Bowl, to say like, wow, it's impressive to see the level of mental discipline necessary in order to something like that. Let that thing go and go back out there and do your job, the next play in the next play, so that you're able to. I mean, in his case, he won himself a Super Bowl, so it's pretty cool to see
Exactly.
like that too. The value of mental discipline, not just in the sports realm, but in everyday life. Right? There's oftentimes that we experience things that are out of our control. That we internalize, we complain about to ourselves, we complain about to other people. We carry that thing on way longer than what it needs to be carried on for because we haven't cultivated the mental discipline to let it go and to move on to the next moment that we have. So just wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, I would just add on to that and talking earlier what I brought up, detachment and letting go. Like that's what that is. To learn to allow things to be that yes, it happened. It happened. You don't have to look at it, oh my gosh, this happened to me. Now I'm this. You don't have to identify with it. You can look at it as, yes, this happened. But in this moment right now, even though this happened in this moment, I get to choose perspective that I hold moving forward. And naturally it was difficult in the beginning for myself to be able to do that. So I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that it's easy, but I
Hmm.
can tell you that if you like a muscle, if you practice that, even if you don't make it, you just say it, you're just like, I have the opportunity to hold a different perspective, even though you might not do it. But just saying it and creating the aspect of doing it differently, I'm telling you, it's like a superpower as things go on. It's like you're the man of steel or the woman of steel now because these things do not bother you anymore. They don't have the same effect because you don't identify with them. They're now experiences.
Hmm. For sure. Not easy, Lord, not by any means.
Oh
It
no.
takes time, it takes intention, it takes effort. But that's the thing, the interesting part about that, because how it cultivated in my life was through a mindfulness practice. So even though it took effort, it wasn't like physical effort, like me going to the gym and doing anything like strenuous physically. As I am focusing on my breathing or as I am focusing on a concept and my mind wanders to something completely unrelated to what it is that I recognize serves me best in this moment, I gently and kindly bring my awareness back to be centered to the here and now, to focus back in on what it was that I originally recognized added value to my experience. That is the effort. Effort is bringing your mind back and doing so in a compassionate way, doing so in a kind way. And that is the repetition. Do more of those on a regular basis. And like Nick was saying, you will develop the superpower of mental discipline because it is a superpower if you are able to cultivate it in your life. So for sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about where is it at? I'm gonna have to do my entire screen, so it's gonna look trippy here for a second, but bear with me. Whoa, can you see my screen?
Yep.
This is our Mindful Monday newsletter. We started to drop it at 10 a.m. instead of 12 a.m. So this just came out. There will be links in the description to subscribe, but just wanted to show you all pretty much what comes in this newsletter. We have a mindful moment, a brief breathing exercise that you can tune into. We have a quote where you can then learn more about who it was that said that quote. We have a question, so just something to shape your perspective for the week, kind of expand your awareness a little bit more about what's going on in your experience. And then we have the podcast. So this week we talked about 3 tips for managing your midday routine. We also were reiterating the value of the energy management guide. Down below with a link either from our newsletter or in the bio of any of our social media platforms. We then offer up resources. This week we were talking about the value of exercise, so showing you why it's beneficial to incorporate movement into your day. And then we also offered up a 5-minute positive energy meditation for you. This week here, we give you the week ahead at the each of these Mindful Monday newsletter posts, and this for Patreon today. So be sure to check that out. If you are a part of our Patreon community or if you want to join, be sure to go to patreon.balance period or patreon.com/balance period, excuse me. And then tomorrow we are going to be starting, if you are local to the Indianapolis area, we are doing a workshop for side hustlers and entrepreneurs, taking them through the balance blueprint, making the connections between how valuable it is to more mindfully manage your energy and create a sustainable self-care system for you to be able to create the business of your dreams. Okay. Wednesday, we have those text reminders. We got stretch break on Thursdays, being sure to stretch and breathe. And then we have episode 151 heading your way next week. So just wanted to show you all what that newsletter looks like. You could get it every Monday into your inbox, starting your week off in a mindful way. All right. Now, is there anything that you wanted to add about the newsletter?
Nope. We're all good.
Cool. There's one more thing. I'm gonna share my screen. This is a it's an optical illusion. All right, it's optical illusion, and I one of the newsletters that I'm subscribed to had it in there. I watched it, and it got me. I was not paying attention, so I'm gonna play it. It's very short. I'm gonna play the video, and then we can talk a little bit about it once it's. I'm sharing my entire screen. It's gonna look trippy for a second. Bear with me. All right, here we go.
That's hilarious.
Bro,
I
did you
I
notice
thought
it?
no, I thought something was wrong with my brain because I blinked and I was like, "Why does this look like that?" And it didn't look like that at first. And I just kept was
Yeah,
like, "But the
bro.
circulating thing's the same. Maybe it's just my head." But now them showing that, it was like, "Whoa!" I didn't realize it, but I noticed it. I didn't realize I noticed it. But yeah, no, that was weird because it was the bottles at the top left of the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Though I noticed those not be there anymore. It was either that or I thought like it was something over it. That's why I thought it was my eyes. That's why you see me. I was like. What did I just do?
Yeah.
No, that's the yeah.
Just a brief description. It says the changing room illusion is an example of graduate change blindness, a phenomenon in which observers are unable to notice changes to the world around them when those changes occur gradually. In virtually all prior cases, gradual change Blindness is studied by changing individual objects, which generally is like a chimney disappearing or facial expression shifting. While trying to prepare a novel experiment or example of this phenomenon for students, which is the person that did this, he said, I realized that I could change dozens of items without the observers noticing. So overall, this illusion highlights how people may actually perceive and remember far more of the world around them than they intuitively realize. So
Yeah, no, that's
I
good.
thought it was really interesting because I had watched it first and I was just like I noticed some of the things change, but I'm like, what is this? And then I was like, oh shoot, it was so much had like adjusted by the end of it.
Have you heard about like our the blind spot we have in our eye? Have you done anything with that before? I seen a kind of like the same vision test where there's a dot on the screen and it tells you to look at a certain direction, and as you continue to look, that dot disappears.
Hmm.
You're still looking at the
I have
screen,
that.
but it goes. And I was like, "Whoa!" I had no idea that was part of our eyes. Like we already can only see 0.0000003% of what's in front of us. Now you tell me I got blind spots in it too, man. Don't want to see me
Yeah,
learn.
yeah. I've been learning just more. I know we talked about it in the episode this week, but I've been just learning neuroscience and this concept that I didn't really pay attention to, but like our eyes are an extension of our like, nervous system of our brain. Like the sole purpose of our eyes is to send this light information that we're getting from, what we are experiencing around us to our brain to process so that we can engage with where we are. That's
Yeah,
pretty much it. So our eyes are connect all of the things that make our bodies operate, which is pretty cool. But learning more about optic, optic lenses, everything that happens within our eyes and how, yeah, everything is just light is so interesting. Like when you learn like what everything is made out of and then how we experience it and how we engage with it, there's so much attention to that's happening right in front of us. And so that's why that illusion, like for me, just highlights that that is the case. And if we are able just to pause, to breathe, and to pay closer attention to what's happening around us, there's probably going to be more to our lives that we will notice, especially over time, if we're consistent about reconnecting to the here and now, being fully engaged and present, and doing our best to maintain a mindful perspective on our lives. So,
yeah.
all right,
And I'm gonna give
go
a quick
ahead.
fun fact: is that atoms are mostly empty space, so we're mostly empty space. Something to think about in research.
Yeah, yeah, it's a combination of space and like waves,
It's
movement.
very, it's very
It's
interesting.
empty yet always in motion.
Yep.
But yeah, what makes up atoms, the majority of them, yes, are
And
empty
even
spaces.
that is what we've been able to understand up to this point. It's not absolute. It's just where we are right now. Who knows what it'll be in 20 years from now or 10? We could have it completely backwards and it be something different. Who knows? That's my favorite part about science is that as you continue to move forward, who knows what it's going to be.
Facts. So might as well enjoy it while it's here.
Facts.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you. Have a mindful week. Have a fantastic week. Enjoy yourselves this week. And we look forward to having you all tune in next Monday for our next Mindful Monday live broadcast. Be sure to bring someone next time or to share this with someone. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in.